Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rumpitai Machaka and I'll be helping you on how to use Power Automate, Power Apps and all the other Microsoft 365 tools. So today we're going to look into how we can create a very simple IT ticketing system with the use of Power Automate, SharePoint, as well as Teams. So as you can see on my screen, I've got a SharePoint list, which is a SharePoint table that I've created, and it has different tickers that I've just put in. So it's just dummy data for learning purposes. And within this SharePoint table, we have different columns. So we have the title column, we have the description column, we also have the severity column, which is a choice column that has high, medium, and low options. We have the date required, so when the ticket is required to, when the issue is required to have been resolved. And then you have the department column, which would be a choice column that has different department choices. And then you also have the status column that has different values. So you have the open, closed, as well as closed but not resolved. I've made the status default value to be open. So whenever a user creates a ticket within the SharePoint table, the when they create the ticket, the default value will be open. So the ticket will just have a default value on the status as open. And then we also have the IT comments column, which will be response from IT. So for example, if the ticket has been closed but not resolved, we need to know why. So that will be IT comments, or even if it's closed, we also need to and they have like comments that they want to put in. It allows them to put in comments so that the user can have feedback on their ticket. So this is a SharePoint list that I've just walked you through. And I'm going to go back to Power Automate. So this is Power Automate. This is a Microsoft tool that allows us to create flows and to automate boring tasks and like things that are very repetitive. We can use Power Automate to do that. So you have different types of flows with Power Automate. You've got automated cloud flows, instant cloud flows, scheduled cloud flows, as well as desktop cloud flows. You also have the option to describe what you want to build, the flow that you want to build, and Power Automate will use AI to help you build the flow. Right. So because our trigger is SharePoint list, we is SharePoint online. So we are going to use the automated cloud flow. So if I click on the automated cloud flow, and it will prompt me to put in the flow name. So I'll just call it IT tickets. And then for every flow that you create with Power Automate, you have to have a trigger. So a trigger is how you want your flow to start, or when you the event that you want to start your flow. So for example, you've got various triggers from different tools. You've got SharePoint, you've got OneDrive. So like say for example, I want to trigger my flow when a response is submitted from a Microsoft form, or I want to trigger whenever an item is added into a SharePoint. And when we say an item, we mean a row is added into a SharePoint table. So I'll just go back to here just to show you. So whenever a user comes into the SharePoint table, the IT request, if they click on add new item, right? If they click on add new item and they add the new item and then they hit save, once they click on save, I want my Power Automate to trigger. So I'll pick the when an item is created in a SharePoint. And as you can see, it says SharePoint on here. So if I go on create, now that is my trigger. Now it's prompting me to put in my site address. It's prompting me to put in the list name as well. So if I just click on the drop down, usually SharePoint will query the sites that you have access to. So you can see that I have the communication and the automate with Roomba site. So I'll click on that one because that's the one where my SharePoint list is located. And once you pick that, it will also query for you the list name, when I say list, it's basically just saying table name. So if you click on the drop down, so it shows me all the tables within the site that I've picked. So this is the IT request table that we're looking into. So if I just go back, you can see that my table here is IT request, and these are all my tickets. So this is the table that we're going to be using. Once that's done, we want to send a user a receipt to say you've created this item, to acknowledge that we've received this item, and the ticket has been forwarded to IT team. So I'll just click on the add, and we want to post an adaptive card to Teams. So you have different, so in Power Automate, you have got triggers and you've got actions. So right now we're going to you to look for an action from Teams. So if I just type Teams, and if I do a see more, you see that these are all the actions that I can use in Power Automate. So you've got different things depending on your scenario. For us, we want to post an adaptive card. Um, but we don't want to wait for a response. We just want to post a card in Teams. So if I just go on here and pick this one, so we have our action post in a chat or a channel. So you have different options to post. You can post as a flow bot, you can post as Power Apps virtual agents, you can post as a user. So we're going to post as a flow bot. I'll just rename this to user receipt, because this is a receipt to the user who has created the ticket. Now you have three options on whether to post in a channel. You can also post as a flow in a chat with a flow bot, or you can post in a group chat. So I'll just pick the flow bot for now. And once that's done, I want to populate the recipient with the dynamic values. So what happens is whenever you create an item in a SharePoint list, there is what we call metadata columns that get populated. So for example, a user goes into a SharePoint table, they create a, a ticket, there will be a column called created that will say when this was created. That's a metadata column. And then there'll also be a column that says created by, and it populates with the user email, user display name, user claims or department or job title. So if I just switch this, and then if I go on to my dynamic values and search for created, you can see I have created by claims, display name, email, department, job title. So I'm just going to pick email. That will be the recipient. So the person who has created the ticket is the one who will get the receipt. And then you have an adaptive card input that we need to construct. So I'll go to my adaptive cards, and then we need to construct a JSON file, and I'll show you how we can do that and post that adaptive card into our teams. So if I just go on this, you can see you can go use this link to go on adaptive cards, and this is basically where it takes you. And let me just, yeah, there we go. So if you click on new card and pick a blank card, right? If you're creating this for Teams, you need to make sure that the target version is 1.3, and the select, you have to select the host app, which should be Microsoft Teams, right? Now, we want to send an adaptive card to Teams. So this is just a receipt to the user, and we'll pick a text block, and then we'll drag it in here. And on the text block, we'll label it to say ticket. And then for this one, we don't need to put an ID. And you can adjust different things. So the style and everything, the font type, you can pick different things. You can pick the weight as well if you want it to be bolder. The color as well if you want it to be dark, light, etc. There's plenty of things that you can you can pick from. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to keep it simple. So this will be ticket, and then I'll just put this. So I'll populate the rest of the value with the title, and I'll show you how I'll do it. So we have the ticket, and then I'll drag um another text box. So text block, sorry. So if I just go in here on the text, I'll just populate it. Right, so hi. Right. Right, okay. This would be the receipt. You can add a few other details. You can actually go on here, add another text block, and just say, maybe just give a few details of the ticket. So we can just say title so that they know which ticket is being referred to. So title. And then you can drag another text block and just say description, and drag another one and say department. So as you can see, as I'm creating all of this, my JSON file is being constructed already. So now, yeah, so now I have the title, description, and everything. So I now have my tickets. I mean, you can always change things around. You can always add more information if you need to, depending on your solution. But basically, this is how the receipt would look like. You have the ticket, you have the message, and you have the ticket details, right? So now that I need to change that to that. Let's just make sure it is version 1.3. Okay, good. Right. So now that this is done, um, you can go and copy the card payload on here. All right. So once it's copied, we'll go into our flow and we'll paste that in. Now this is our JSON file, and we just need to add in a few dynamic values from the item. So we have the ticket, which is this one. So I'll go on the ticket and then I'll add a dynamic value, which is going to be um, the title. So if I say title, and then hi, I want to say hi to the person who has created. So created, because that's the person we are sending the e receipt to anyway. So hi, created by display name, and the title of the tickets for ticket details, and then the description, and then the department. So I'll get the department value because it's a choice column. So now we have constructed our JSON file, and whenever an item is created, so I'll save this. Whenever an item is created in a SharePoint list, I wanted to send a receipt to the user. So this is the first step. So we'll test it and we'll see if the user receives a receipt. And once they receive a receipt, we'll then go ahead and send it to the IT team. So let's just test this. Let's see if it's working. We'll say manual. So I'll need to create an item in this SharePoint list. So I'll go back and I'll say add new item. I'll say log in issues. then description, I say we are having issues logging in logging into the issue tracker system, right? And then the severity, I'm just going to pick high. And then the date required, I'll pick the 6th of December. And then department business excellence. And then this by default will be open. So if I have any attachments, I'll attach them on this. But for now, we'll keep it simple. So save. So now I've created this item. This is a new row that I've created. And this should trigger my flow. So let's go back to our flow. Let's see if it has triggered. It takes a bit of time. If I just go back and give it a refresh, amazing. So yeah, it did take a bit of time. So if I just open this, you can see my flow was successful. And if I just go onto my Teams, you can see that I've received a Teams um, message that shows this receipt. So this will be a receipt that I'll receive in Teams. So it just basically says, "Hi, Rumbidai Chaka. This is a receipt for the ticket that you've created. Your issue has been forwarded to IT. The title login issues." So you can see that it picked up the 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 title that I put in when I was creating a ticket. The description is, "We are having issues logging into the issue tracker," exactly the value that I put in when I was creating my ticket. And the department is business excellence. And as I've said, you can edit this receipt in any way you want, depending on the solution. With For my class, I've kept it really simple. But you can add images, you can add different fonts, you can add different things to it. You can like make sure that there's appropriate spacing and stuff like that. So this is the first part of um, this video. I'm going to do another video to show you how we can then go into IT, and then IT will then respond and it will be populated back to the SharePoint table. Thank you for watching, guys. Let me know if there are any issues, and please don't forget to fill in the feedback form. I'm happy to take in your feedback and adjust my videos based on your feedback. Thank you. Bye.